with impaired conductor staff, over.
The off-season comes to a close and Racecraft Rallycross debuts on RaceSpotTV. Today, here live from wine country where the champions were crowned earlier this year, another pursuit of greatness will begin, and it's all live here, again, on RaceSpotTV. Our junior Kenki party on hand alongside with Paul Smith, the former voices of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. And Paul, it's been a long time since we've seen Rallycross on RaceSpot, but we're excited for the shortest and most frenetic form of racing available on iRacing.
If you like your action, fast, frenetic, and action-packed, then this is definitely the place you want to be. My goodness, we are going to be in for a good night tonight.
We've got some strong drivers as well. Let's talk about the schedule very quickly. Starts here at wine country for 3 consecutive weeks of racing before a bit of a break. Charlotte, Phoenix, and then Atlanta close things out, a 6-round campaign. And crucially, at some of these tracks where there are multiple configurations, make it nice and easy, they're all the long configurations. And boy, Paul, are these some of the greatest hits of iRacing Rallycross.
And we're starting off with what I think is the best of the lot of them. Sonoma, such a brilliant track to run races in Rallycross. This is the last place I actually raced a Rallycross race in an All-Stars race. Didn't quite work out how I planned, but certainly a lot of fun.
So much to talk about when it comes to the unique peculiar features of this track, but if you're new to Rallycross, it all begins in qualifying to score points. The drivers are just going out there where they get the track to themselves and a couple of attempts to get 6 points onto the board, and then from there seeded into individual heats. Some drivers will advance directly into the feature where the majority of the points are on the line. Most of the drivers, though, will be thrown into the LCQ where only a couple of opportunities to slide on forward to that main event will be. And Paul, consistency in making it to the feature so important to mount a championship fight.
Yeah, you've got to make it to each of those features. Even if you just finish in the bottom half of the feature points, just get into those features each round. It's so crucial to help you score points for your championship.
And of course, we've taken a look at the schedule, so you know that no tracks are being repeated. There isn't an opportunity to come back and relearn, as maybe some of the other off-road disciplines have seen through their various championship runs. Here's a look, though, at Sonoma in particular, because it's one of the tracks with the most dirt, but we start, of course, just before the run down into Paul, what is maybe quite fittingly known as the bowling alley.
Yeah, down into that first turn past the finish line, through that sweeping uphill right-hander, and then you've got that lovely sweeping left-hander at 4, into the tight right at 5, which takes you past the start, down into 1, and then you've got that quick run through, taking the Joker lap, and we've seen it before, taking that Joker lap on the last lap to win races, it's fantastic.
And that's how Jacob Rafos came out with the victory in the very final race of our previous season here at Sonoma. It was, I think, 2,000ths or so of a second, 200ths, excuse me, of a second. This wonderful facility has so much dirt, though, as well, that Paul, managing the wear as the track evolves over the course of the session, going to be important as well. And the Joker cannot be taken at the start. You must wait until the first full lap is complete before you can take to the Joker.
Yeah, so many drivers have to be aware of that, and having a good spotter, a good team to work with you is so crucial in a series like this, just so you can focus on the driving, not let the thinking too much get into to take away from your focus for the driving. But drivers are in qualifying right now, getting their getting their lap times in to see who takes those first championship points.
Exactly, first championship points and important championship points you feel as well. Let's talk very quickly though about our race analysis here for RX2, because this is the introduction to some into the world of Rallycross. 8x incident limit gives them a little bit more freedom to bump and barge than the RX1 drivers will have later on today, but it's the fixed setups, Paul, that will make the most difference. Drivers don't have to worry about how they will dial in their cars for the track evolution.
Yeah, it's all about how you handle that car with that setup, how you can adapt yourself to it if it's not quite your favoured driving style. You can see that the LCQ is going to be crucial for some drivers out there to get them into that feature.
We currently have 22 drivers rolling around the track, which I do believe means that we'll have 3 different heats, all with 2 drivers advancing to the feature. And from there, it will mean 2 LCQs will be on deck. We'll see how many of the drivers end up being able to work their way on forward from there. I believe, if I do my math correctly, usually 10 car features means 2 from each of them. Never trust a commentator's math, though. There you can see the times as qualifying very much rumbling on in the background. Matthew Lind currently the fastest of them all, but not many drivers still with times left to set. Ross Kaiser is going to run his way towards the line and punch in what will be his final attempt. Does find 0.04 of a second improvement, but doesn't barge himself up the qualifying order.
It's so tight in this qualifying, 17 thousandths of a second between first and second place. This is going to be absolutely wonderful stuff to watch. I'm so glad to be back in Rallycross. I've missed this, Aljuna.
I must say, when I got the message from Josh Edmondson earlier this year to say, can you come and join us for Racecraft Rallycross on Racecraft TV, I was like, sign me up as quickly as you can, because I've got to say, there is still a very fun community around it, even with no World Championship, and some drivers just getting some final practice laps with their qualifying attempts all done and dusted. Paul, you've seen basically every season of Rallycross competition at the World Championship level. The one thing that we know, very important to stay out of trouble with contact.
Yeah, the opening of the race, especially here down into that first turn from the start, is going to be so crucial, and it's so easy to get caught up in incidents there. And Sebastian Broberg just backing off a little bit through the left-hander here. This corner is the crucial corner. Get it changed down, swing it through here. You can run it out wide as well over the grass on the outside. But it's that it narrows down on the exit here, and we've seen so many times in the past incidents happen for drivers out there.
And that's the Racecraft Academy car of Kenny Hoffman finding out that turn 1, which is technically turn 1 on the lap rather than on the race start itself, can be very tricky and precarious. Jumps as well. Got to make sure you pitch the car in the air, because the throttle as well as the brake do have a bit of an impact on the momentum that you'll bring. Again, we split the field up now into 3 distinct heats. 2 drivers will advance to the main event out of each of them. Let's run you down through the starting grid for the first race in 2023 Season 2 of RX2 Rallycross action. It's Matthew Lind, the fastest of them all in the qualifying session. He'll have Rennie Sotens alongside, who was very quick in our previous campaign. Ross Kaiser and then Devin Hughes, 3rd and 4th positions, with Jake Robichaux and then Greg Johnson on the 3rd row of the grid. It's Antoine Room and Cody Winicki on the final row. 8 cars that will get set in the bowling alley to run themselves down on towards the start. Paul, your last race as an all-star was here. What are the nerves that the drivers will be thinking about?
Well, I had Zach Campbell threatening to wipe me out in that race, so my nerves were very high that day. But certainly, it's just that focus down into that first turn. It's a 3x2x2 here, 3x2x3, should I say? Sorry. It's going to be crucial just getting that clean start down into that turn 1 and get the inside road, because if you run it out too far out wide, you can end up with carnage. And
we've got 3 wide into the turn 1 complex as it is on the start initially. Still waiting for Devin Hughes and Cody Winicki to get lined up. Downhill start as well. Is that slightly more complex, Paul, or not really too much of a factor?
It helps you go faster into turn 1.
Well, I guess into the bowling alley it's only fitting. Engines roar for the first time in 2023 Season 2 RX2 is a go, and a great jump there from Matthew Lind to lead them down in towards the opening corner. Who's going to be the bravest of them all? Already a check-up behind. Lind and Sotens will get down in towards the last corner on the track side by side, and the No Control Esports car going to be alongside on the run into turn number 1.
Across the line, and yeah, just ahead then to Sutton's to the front. And look at the big slide there. That's not the line through that turn. That means that Lind is going to go through, and it's more drama here.
That's Ross Kaiser that somehow found himself mounted on the inside of turn 1 on the track, taking advantage, Matthew Lind, as we rejoin the tarmac back where we started this race. Going to find himself breaking away. Sotens can slide wide, gives him a little bit more of a cutback as they funnel toward the final couple of corners. Neither driver goes for the Joker in the top 2. Cody Winicki, who started at the back, will take to the Joker at the very first time of asking.
I think that's a wise move if he's been able to get himself into that spot in second now and just work behind your leader. Yeah, you're maybe not going to win this one, but just gets you a bit of free air if you feel that you were stuck behind a little bit or felt you were a little bit quicker than Sutton's.
And you can see on the left side of the screen both the fact that the top 2 advance directly to the feature, but also who has completed the Joker with the crown next to the name. Remember, 1.9 seconds, the shortcut that is expected. So right now, Rene Sotens won't be panicking too much, but with now 3 laps about to be complete as they jump through towards the start-finish line once more. It's all as we saw Ross Kaiser's incident on the start. Greg Johnson, Antoisin and Robichaud all involved in their own dramas as well. It's between these 3 for the 2 transfer spots.
Rene Sotens just matching pace with Winicki, so is doing a good job in third just to hold that gap so that when it comes to his time to use the Joker lap, he can slip down and get that place from Winicki. But certainly Lind right now at the front is feeling very comfortable with a 1 second lead.
And that Kess Industries number 3 doesn't come down to the Joker. Going to probably save it for the final lap, as that was Winicki running a little bit wide as the No Control Esports machine of Sotens takes to the Joker and emerges behind Lind, who now, you'd assume, Paul, 2 laps to go, has a comfortable transfer spot towards the feature.
That was very smart from Sotens then, just perfectly timed as well, with Winicki just having that little bit of an issue going into that turn number 2, but certainly good opportunity to take that second place. Don't think he'll quite be able to challenge for the lead, but if you're in a transfer spot, you don't really mind.
Exactly. The one thing to consider, though, is that Matthew Lind, who does take to the Joker this time by, doesn't want to wait and leave himself with some more pressure, as they might fight for the second and final transfer spot. Is the winner of this race starts at the very top of the feature grid. Second place would start down in 4th position behind the winners of the next 2 heats coming up on deck. Lind has broken away. It's the pressure, though, on second, the final of the transfer spots.
Winicki's not giving this one up without a fight yet, that's for sure. So Sotens is feeling that pressure, the different lines being taken. It's intriguing to see that, but how close do you get to that wall? Well, Winicki's trying, that's for sure.
Gonna try maybe a final corner desperation send, but maybe a bit too far back. Racecraft Rallycross is back, and Matthew Lind is the first feature race winner of RX2. Rene Sotens should advance along with the number 3 machine. Cody Winicki just misses out, and after a rather tumultuous start for the likes of Greg Johnson and company, it'll be a bit of a wait for them before we see them come towards the line. Antoisin Room actually saving his Joker for the very final lap, something that I'm sure we'll see a handful of other drivers thinking about doing, Paul.
Yeah, you will see that as a tactic from some of your drivers in the races a little bit later. If they're involved in close battles, you save that Joker, have it in your pocket to use later.
And so already, fast, frenetic Rallycross action. That's 1 heat down, of course, 2 still to come. Here's how they, of course, finish. Confirmation, Lind and Sotens moving on forward. The rest of the drivers still with a last chance qualifier to come. Here's a look at the starting grid for heat number 2, where Andrew Howell and the Fair Shifters 666 will be alongside Kim-Andre Bjorklund and Tom Grady in the Legion Speed Sport at 535. Kenny Hoffman and then Sim van der Wereld on the second row, with Thomas Paulson 6th, Crystal King 7th, and then Hakan Schott rounding out the field, who I believe are already launching their way down into the bowling alley. Tom Grady with a great launch off of the starting blocks. Going to be able to go around the outside and charge the lead past Andrew Howell, past Bjorklund, chaos in the back, but a great start for the 535.
Hoffman got absolutely bullied to the side there, and we got cars off of the side of the jump. That's Bjorklund is over the concrete wall. That's it for Kim Andre.
And is he going to take the tow, or is he going to be sat there and waiting? Eventually he has no choice but to run himself back up towards pit lane as the challenge for the lead comes. Andrew Howell bullies his way past Tom Grady.
Oh, that's a big move. Grady got a great launch. You normally don't want to be on the outside of that front row, but he got a great launch to go to the outside of turn number 1 at the bowling alley, and it worked out nicely. But now, coming under pressure from Howell, it's Howell and Grady together.
And I think that's going to be, is it Thomas Paulson that took the Joker? It was indeed. So he'll cycle to the front, but now under a lot of pressure as, again, 1.9 seconds the Joker Delta. Tom Grady still technically within range. Van Wereld running a little bit wide through that opening corner. Crystal King not too far back as well. If Paulson's slow and backs the pack up, Jokers could relieve some of these drivers into clean air.
I just think that Paulson right now, he's getting just a little bit caught up here, and really wide there, Grady. That's not good. And Sim, well, you don't need to ask him twice to go through. In fact, I think Grady's got problems.
Is that a slowdown? Did he run so wide that he grabbed himself a slowdown? It quite possibly could be, as Andrew Howell immediately responds, takes the Joker, and I see the Welsh flags on the front of the car. Almost pulls the handbrake and slides it in through that opening corner. As it stands right now, Thomas Paulson's early Joker has actually left him in a pretty good spot. Crystal King has also taken the Joker, and the only female holder of a World Championship license puts the pressure onto the 420.
Yeah, but taking the Joker, so if I'm Wereld now, I'm actually taking the Joker this time, and just getting that pressure off of me. I'm not waiting until the end of the race. If I'm Sim, I take that turn. There you go.
Almost as though Paul Smith's done his fair share of Rallycross racing and commentary. Means he will still be, a good 2 seconds off the back of Thomas Paulson. And so very much now, it's just down to pace. Once again, back onto the dirt, sliding up through the hill. We do tend to see drivers wanting to be maybe a little bit tighter to the apex of the corner initially, but seemed like a relatively good run and already closes the margin. It's going to be for second. Andrew Howell is looking quite comfortable up towards the front. Thomas Paulson now will hope to stay out of the slowdown territory where Tom Grady found himself in trouble.
Yeah, look at keeping it on the asphalt there, not even risking going onto the grass at that point. We're going to be starting the last lap of the race here, and these two at the front, they seem to be quite comfortable. Sim just a little bit too far back to be able to challenge them.
One more trip around this lap for the likes of Howell and Paulson before they'll then be sitting and waiting while the rest will go through the LCQs. That's always something that we touch on, Paul, the fact that the winners that advance directly to the feature don't get as warm in the next couple of moments before that all-important main event.
Sometimes it can actually work against you, though, not keeping going all the way through. But Howell, just one more turn to go.
It's been a great performance as well. After what was a chaotic start, Andrew Howell in that 666 outlasts them all, grabs the victory in heat number 2, and along with Thomas Paulson has done enough to make it directly into today's main event. There's a look at that 49 machine, loving the liveries on display as well. Although, admittedly, maybe a few more Subaru STIs out there. Not enough Beetles, not enough Ford Fiestas. Just one more car to get to the line, because remarkably, yes, Bjorklund did find himself pointed in the wrong direction and on the wall, Paul. He's going to finish the race, though.
And we love to see it as well. Why not finish the race, get it out of the way, and at least then have that bit of a rhythm back.
It's always important as well, given that the last chance qualifier is gridded up in the results from each of the heats. And so Howell and Paulson move on forward. The rest know there's still plenty of fighting to come. We almost missed the start of heat number 2. Let's try not to do that for heat number 3. Here's how they'll line up very quickly. Tyler Shell will be at the front. They're already looking to get underway, though. So as we get racing here for the third and final heat, it's Tyler Shell along with Olsen Laya and Sebastian Broberg down in towards the bowling alley. Disappointing start there from Tyler Schell. It's allowed Vergod Olsen Lea to lead them in toward that final corner. A much tidier start, all things considered. Contact between Broberg and Lea, but all things calm towards the line.
Yeah, Broberg in that Fiesta, one of the few Fiestas out there. Third place right now, will want to be moving forward in this one. Shell's making moves as well, so it was a little bit of a mistake, slid too much, and that's allowed Shell and now Broberg as well to go through.
Great opportunistic drive from that Fiesta, which will be better, on the fresher tarmac than on the worn tarmac. That's where the Subarus will maybe find a little bit more speed, and Broberg gets turned around. Not much that he could really do, brings it back into control, and as we take a look at Broberg's perspective, it's now with contact as Mitchell goes around as well.
We've got Jokers being taken as well, so it's chaos, it's carnage, it's Rallycross. We love it. Bit of body panels being rubbed, but right now, Broberg putting the pressure and keeping the pressure on here through this turn. Important
as well that we're seeing calm hands right now, not trying to slide the car around too much, Paul, because momentum so important on the dirt.
Oh, that Fiesta's shorter wheelbase as well. Much more nippy, much more nimble through the turns than that Subaru, but that Subaru is so strong, it's favoured by so many people.
It's become the de facto car to be in through the field. Broberg a little bit deep, and as he tries to get down to the Joker, allows Eric Whitner the opportunity to squeak on through and slide on forward as well. Seems as though Tyler Schell takes the Joker, Olsen Lea does as well, and in fact everyone inside of the top four.
It's almost as if Broberg tried to pull out of taking the Joker then and was caught in two minds and made that mistake, and thank you very much, Whitner goes through, so that means 2 places gained then. Look at replay then, and this is what happened, down into the bowling alley and just got caught across. Great car control, I must say, from Broberg.
Oh, and then there is some netcode there between Zach Mitchell as he tries to work his way past Sebastian Broberg. Unfortunately doesn't work out as they would have liked, and now over the jump Broberg and Whitner almost swap around. They're battling fiercely, allowing Owen Anderson to take to the Joker and close in through turn 1, up through the hill once more. It's the Fiesta on the inside and getting spun off to the grass.
That Fiesta's getting bullied around this track right now. It is not liking things out there, but certainly it's rough and ready around these venues. It's going to be hard for him, but tell you what, Tyler Schell, he's not worried at all. 3, nearly 4 seconds clear right now.
No, Tyler Schell, of course, World of Outlaws driver for iRacing World Championship competitions. Dirt oval, dirt road. I'm sure there's a lot that actually carries between the two of them as we head on towards what is now the final lap of the race. Owen Anderson watches Sebastian Broberg closing back up towards Eric Whitner, but Tyler Schell, after what you said, the Ford had been in plenty of action, this Subaru looks like it's just rolled off the factory floor.
Yeah, just give it a quick wash and get it back on the forecourt. It'll be never raced or rallied, one lady owner, as they go on with more issues out there. That's Whitner.
Well, I think that therefore implies contact with Broberg, so they continued to bump and barge at the back, but 3 heats are done, and now 6 drivers have locked their spots in towards the main event of RX2 season opener. It's Tyler Schell, the winner of the 3rd heat. It'll be Vergod Olsen Lea to advance on forward as well, while Sebastian Broberg put on a show, but unfortunately a show that only results in a 3rd place finish.
Sebastian will be gutted with that, but certainly got bullied around in that race. But, well, that's the end of the heats, and now we're going to those last chance qualifiers.
And it's going to be fast and frenetic as we'd expect, and so let's see if we can very quickly grab a look at the starting lineup for the first of what is indeed 2 last chance qualifiers with what is going to be 3 spots in the feature on the line. I thought it was 2, but 3 instead. It means Cody Winicki, Sebastian Broberg, and Tom Grady all on the front row have the best spot possible, while Antoine Saint-Room, Zach Mitchell, and then Kenny Hoffman, Ross Kaiser, and Franklin Monac will potentially be hoping to scramble their way through some of what has been plenty of drama already, Paul.
Yeah, but this is it. This is your last hope now to try and get yourself into that feature. And of course, you want to get the best result that you possibly can, because it does affect your starting position in that feature race.
So here we go as the drivers get ready to launch their way into the bowling alley, some for the final time today. Engines roar once more. And last chance qualifier number 1 is officially go. Great start from the inside. Tom Grady doesn't get the great launch that he got previously. And as they pay bumper cars behind, Zach Mitchell getting spun around again, taking with him Franklin Monarch down through the final corner, leading the way. Cody Winicki, Sebastian Broberg tucked in behind Tom Grady, but getting ready to slide through turn number 1.
Mitchell racing from Australia, not having a good time out there today. It's down the inside, it's a Fiesta going for the move. Winicki's feeling the pressure from Broberg, and Broberg's ahead.
It's a great little start though from the 3 at the front that will know that as long as they don't fight too much, they could break away in this Racecraft Rallycross powered by Next Level Racing RX2 category with the fixed setups on deck as well. Broberg puts so much pressure onto the back of Winicki and instantly thinks, I've got to go to the Joker, I've got to find myself some clean air.
Yeah, pops a rear wheel as well. 3 wheels on my wagon going into that and onto turn 1 now. But if I'm Winicki or Grady, I'm not too worried too much so far. Although Ross Kaiser certainly putting the pressure on Tom Grady right now after taking his Joker lap.
Aggressive Joker strategy there has kept himself in contention, and he might be able to slow down Winicki and Grady as well if that Subaru, that number 8 Subaru, is able to close the margin. Once again, transitioning back onto the tarmac, but too aggressively from Ross Kaiser. And Antoine Room can do nothing but run into the stricken Subaru.
Oh, there's no worse feeling than coming round and seeing a car in the middle of the road and there's nothing that you can do about it. As there's a Joker taken now as they carry on. So, yeah, Broberg's still the leader here.
And that's a little bit of an interesting line from Cody Winicki. That's the hugging of the apex I was referring to. Room's onboard shows the lack of vision coming over the crest, and the stricken Subaru left Room with nowhere to go. And now I think realistically, Paul, it does mean 3 cars at the front with 3 spots in the feature, basically theirs.
Room was going for where the car wasn't because the car did leave a gap, but the problem is that then pulled forward and, well, by that point there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, these leaders, they don't want to fight too hard because they don't want to give themselves a chance of tripping over each other and allowing others into this one. But at the same point, as I mentioned, that where you finish here affects your starting place in that feature. And
it's why I think you have seen the start being so important for them. Here's the look with the leader right now, Sebastian Broberg, who is a little bit tight to the apex, but I think he's just keeping it under control. This is the myth about Rallycross on occasion, Paul, is that you need to be a wild bucking bronco, drifting it around everywhere. No, control is sometimes faster, and Broberg looks quite clean and collected right now.
Yeah, just stamping on the throttle, shouting power certainly doesn't help you around here. You need to have an element of a deft touch with your throttle application, especially through those long sweeping corners, just to hold that slide, get the perfect line for those cars around here. Tom Grady still owes us a Joker here and is closing slightly to Winicki.
And so keep that in mind, 1.7 seconds the delta between them as they fend their way off into the final couple of corners. Could there be a Joker jump? Running to the checkered flag. Sebastian Broberg, though, is going to see checkered flag of LCQ1 first, and that's an important sign after what was an interesting run for him. But watch the merge. There's the 2 Subarus. It's Tom Grady, and it's by 0.2 of a second that he's able to work his way forward, slightly forward in the starting order for the main event later today.
Well, that was, well, truly chaotic as I saw a car going flying in the background. But yeah, that was truly chaotic, but that's what we expect from these LCQs.
They kept flipping, by the way. Your eyes did not deceive you if you saw what Paul was remarking on. Yes, indeed, cars went to flying and cars went to flipping, but all of the machines that unfortunately are done for the first round of RaceSpot coverage of Racecraft Rallycross RX2. Say that one 5 times fast. It is Broberg, Grady, and Winicki as we just wait for all the drivers to finish up and get towards the line, who will indeed be confirmed as moving on forward for Kenny Hoffman, Zach Mitchell, Franklin Monarch, Antoine Room, and then Ross Kaiser. Unfortunately, He'll be joining us next week for what is bound to be a pretty interesting run at Daytona. Here's a look at LCQ number 2, where Sim Van World, Greg Johnson, and the rest get ready to go, and they are already revving their engines and once again getting ready to rumble. So there's how the top 6 will line their way up. And as they jump their way down into the bowling alley, it's a great start on the inside. The Subaru gets a shove, though. Bumper cars played. Crystal Kings in the wall. Greg Johnson, Van Wereld running away at the front.
Oh, that was King just getting into the back then, and that contact just concertinated up and over goes the Fiesta. Oh, we've got it once again with cars in the wall.
That was hack and shot in the 101. The only Fiesta in, or rather the one of 2 Fiestas in this second LCQ. The other one of them currently on the outside and trying to hold on as Owen Anderson through turn 1 finds a Subaru sliding wide. It's 5 cars battling for 3 spots in the feature.
I'm just looking at the entry list, and there is a number of slowdown penalties needed to be served by a very few drivers. There's another incident. Oh, it's carnage and chaos here.
And I'm going to go look through those slowdowns myself. I think we're about 3 of the 9 cars on the track. As there's a battle over the jump. Greg Johnson almost lost control of that 150 next level racing powered machine. And very wide goes the 420. The 150 follows. Devin Hughes has already taken to the Joker, trying to slide his way on through.
Devon's just trying to put the pressure on here, force the mistake from those in front. By taking that early Joker, you get into the mirrors of the car in front, put that pressure on, force a mistake, and you can see yourself actually being advantageous through taking that early Joker.
And so if you're Bjorklund, potentially, are you going to Joker? Oh, there's the checkup. Devin Hughes and Greg Johnson come together. As Johnson tried to come towards the Joker, I don't necessarily think Hughes was aware of that. And something's happened to Van Wereld as well.
I think he's actually waiting. I think he was actually just being a gentlemanly driver and actually just waiting and saying, nope, I caused that incident. It's only right that I give the place back. Does mean that it causes himself to be out there. Oh no, it's completely different then. So what on earth has happened there?
Is it a slowdown from somewhere?
Possibly.
I mean, we do need to go back and figure out what happened to the actual incident itself.
We have 3 black flags right now, not just slowdowns, but actual black flags.
It's been a messy second and final LCQ, and Paul, as they exit out of the bowling alley, talk us through this.
Yeah, so this is what happens then. So this is what happens when you're following the car in front and they go and hit the brakes for the Joker into the wall. Oh dear, it was, here's the best view from Hughes. He's carrying on, he's going straight on, and late reaction. Hughes then thinks, oh well, I might as well take my Joker.
The thing to remember as well is the driver behind will have no indication that the driver in front is actually taking the Joker. No. And so that's why often in the World Championship, Paul, we talked about how if you're taking the Joker, get to the right-hand side, get out of dodge.
Yeah, you get, if nothing else, it's just looking after yourself.
Goodness.
And Greg Johnson's around, and I think this one is a case of let's just see the top 3 finish this one.
Poor Crystal King. As I mentioned earlier, the only female holder of an iRacing World Championship license so far. Didn't, I think, put herself into the mess mind frame going into her first season. Unfortunately, didn't have the results. And then second season was able to maybe put some of those wrongs right. Maybe not getting all the results, but that's the nature of short course racing. Same as you sometimes expect from Rallycross. That was Eric Whitner going very slowly, as there's Kim-Andre Bjorklund that runs his way to the line, winner in LCQ number 2. Whitner, and somehow Van Wereld will also advance as well.
If you're Sim Van Wereld, you must be counting your chickens right now and clutch at any lucky charms at all, because that has certainly been a messy one. But you got to be in it to win it, and he will cross the line and take that final spot.
And now it means that, as I think we're just waiting technically for the race to come to an end, because no drivers are still running around on track. We have our grid for the feature race set, and it means Bjorklund, Whitner, and Van Wereld will join the rest of the drivers that have worked their way on forward. Still waiting, And officially now, it's rolled on forward into what is a very brief 2-minute warm-up for the drivers to get a couple of moments of practice, especially important for those that have been watching on since their heat races just before the LCQ's confirmation of your results in the second and final LCQ. And yes, 2 laps down for everyone not on the podium, Paul.
Yeah, I think we'll just we'll chalk that one off as character building, shall we say, in that one. But if you're Kim-Andre Bjorklund, well, you had it nice and easy there. But now it comes to the important part. It's that feature race now, and it's a question of, I mentioned it, if you were involved in that first heat race, you win that race, and you're not involved until now. Are you a little bit out of rhythm here? Whereas those drivers who've had to take part in the LCQ, maybe they're in a little bit of a rhythm now.
Exactly. And I always wonder, if you're watching and seeing some of the drama, does that get in your mind as well? Do you feel, oh, how do I stay out of that drama? Here's a look again, just at our Racecraft RX powered by Next Level Racing track analysis. Again, just under a mile in length. It's 58% dirt, and of course that dirt, Paul, has gone through many a race now and has definitely been shifted from its condition when we first got underway.
Yeah, it's starting to get worn now, is that that dirt, and that means that those Subarus, they just seem to come alive a little bit, don't they? And certainly enjoying themselves out there. But those Fiestas have shown little glimpses out there of potential. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in this feature. But certainly it's going to be drama-filled, it's going to be action-packed. Make sure you got a beverage of your choice, because this should be a fun one.
And the best part is, we've got one main event coming, and then RX1 is next as well. Here live on RaceSpotTV, don't have to change the channel. It will be right back here at Sonoma, wine country. What a great shot that was at the elevation change of the brief bit of the facility that we use, because of course we're nestled on part of the drag strip. There's so much of the road course to wonder about as well. We've got 12 drivers locked and loaded, though, some with an easier journey to the first main event of the season than others. Let's run you down through the starting grid for the final time in RX2. Matthew Lind and Andrew Howell, along with Tyler Schell, all winners in their heats, will line up on the front row, while Rennie Sotens and Thomas Poulsen will be tucked in just behind them. Vergerd Olsen Lea will be the final driver that made their way on forward directly from a heat, while the likes of Sebastian Broberg, Kim-Andre Bjorklund, Tom Grady, Sim van Wereld, Cody Winicki, and then Eric Whitner all get ready to do battle from the very tail end of the main event grid. Once again, it's a short hold for the drivers, and they launch themselves down into the bowling alley. Matthew Lind able to hold the inside line, and there's contact immediately as Andrew Howell and Tyler Schell cause chaos for the rest.
I think we almost had a track blockage there. 3 have been able to get through clean. The rest have all got caught up in that schmozzle at the exit of the first turn. But as we go over the jumper through this opening turn now, and look at the different lines, keeping it nice and tidy is quicker sometimes than running that wide line.
And you've seen as well that dirt looks a lot less clean than it did. The dirt has been sort of moved, especially up here as they bring it back onto the tarmac. Slight mistake there from Rennie Sotens, and maybe a slowdown as well as he almost brings it to a dead halt. Matthew Lind will continue to lead at the end of the opening lap, but as they continue to find ways to find drama behind Paul, let's not dally, let's go back and take a look at the start.
Tyler Schell there, but yeah, this is the big one, and it all funnels up. I said that it funnels up, and all of a sudden it's 2 separate incidents that all comes in together to one. As I say, 3 cars did get through and be able to run away at the front, but the rest all got caught up in this one somehow, some way, and there's going to be a lot of broken motor cars out there for those drivers. Fortunately, we are in the virtual world, so don't have to pay for the repair bill.
Yeah, that would be expensive, no matter if this is a spec class or not, as well. Van Wereld has another issue. Tom Grady gets past Thomas Poulsen. There is plenty of action as well, don't get us wrong. 3 cars were able to get through without major drama, but everyone else has got some sort of damage to deal with. There's a couple of cars taking to the Joker. Cody Winicki will cycle up in towards 3rd in front of Grady and Poulsen. Broberg and Schell, the other 2 in this little group, to have taken the shortcut.
You know, Grady didn't seem to have the pace in the opening heat of today, and he just seems to not quite have that edge over everybody else. I mean, looking at the lap times comparatively, you know, he is showing some pace, but really he's not been completely comfortable, it doesn't seem, as there's Broberg with a slowdown penalty now, having to clear that one. They are brutal here when you do pick them up, but this is the fine margins that these drivers are racing to.
And it also is why we talk so much about turn one and how close to the apex that you can get, because the fastest line is effectively risking getting a penalty. And so as we see a great example of Tyler Schell trying to basically ride the curb on the entry, just see how tight and committed to keeping as short a distance as possible they are. That's a small mistake there from Thomas Paulson, who is yet to take his Joker, and now we'll have a slowdown as well as he takes another shortcut.
Oh, they're just racking up. We've got 4 drivers currently serving slowdowns right now. So contact there as well. This is all getting a bit messy back here.
And so I think for Matthew Lind, who continues to run without taking his Joker, 3.5 seconds clear, not even 5 laps into this one, looking very comfortable at the front. No sign of rust after watching on since heat number 1.
Yeah, it's looking comfortable up there at the front, and along with Renee Sotens, will just hold on to that Joker lap and run it towards the end, because you keep that handy, as Sotens not having the best of runs there, and that's just allowed the others to catch up to him. So Grady and Winecki, they're not that far back, but as I say, you keep that Joker in your pocket if you're out at the front, so you got it as a one-up on everybody else. And
of course, that's one of the distinctions often between American rallycross courses versus European rallycross courses, right? The fact that most American Jokers are shortcuts, most European Jokers are longer laps effectively, and so the strategy about when you use that one Joker lap ball really does change.
Yeah, you just have to look at hell, don't you? And you're taking that longer line through Barcelona as well. That's another one where you're taking that longer line. So yeah, you're absolutely right to point out the differences with the European and American courses. But certainly, Joker strategy is going to be key in a few of your battles. Now, this is pretty much settled down, but into RX1, that's really going to be a key feature that we see.
Got a couple of World Championship drivers in that RX1 field. Of course, defending champion Jacob Raffoss, who, when we were wrapping up the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, was, amongst one of the youngest holders of an iRacing World Championship podium. And now, Paul, it's crazy to think that going on, 2 years since the final round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, that he's been running around in some off-road trucks as well, and somehow he's still 16 years young.
Oh, please don't remind me.
We have to.
I feel very old. I mean, you make me feel old, Arjuna, so let's face that. But certainly, these drivers, they just keep on coming through in sim racing, and they're so young and so talented at such a young age, because they've just been spending clipping the curb, the anti-cut curb there for Winecki.
And then also managing to hit the left rear into the wall. Hopefully not steering damage on that car. Has already dropped behind Thomas Paulson as we get ready to hit 2 laps to go. Now just 2 cars in this fight for the final 2 podium spots. Soten still with the Joker in the bag, and that's what you need to do when taking a Joker with a car behind you. Shove your way to the inside, get off the racing line, and take your shortcut and build a 2-second buffer once more.
I was about to say, if I was Renee Sotens, I'd be taking that Joker now with Grady being close then, and that's exactly what he did there. Beautifully done, and as you pointed out, moved over to the right, so there was no chance of getting rear-ended like we saw in that last LCQ. And wow!
Apparently you can flip a Ford Fiesta like that. Sebastian Broberg has been through the wars today, and it does not finish. It's still going on.
Paulson's got a black flag, so has a penalty at the end of this race.
So that will promote Winecki back up into 4th as a result of that.
Wow, this is big, because, the points, remember, big points on offer here in this final.
It's so great to have Rallycross back on RaceSpotTV. I so much enjoyed being part of 2023 Season 1 of Racecraft Rallycross. And this RX2 category may not have all the names, but often it's where all the excitement is, and it's where some of the most talented drivers are still building up their potential. Matthew Lind has made a statement. Fastest in qualifying, dominated his heat, and now the winner of the first round of 2023 Season 2 of RX2, Matthew Lind wins in wine country.
Brilliant stuff. Get the donuts there, pull the handbrake, get the donuts done. That is a great job from Lind.
And he will continue to celebrate as Sotens and Grady confirm themselves on the final steps of the podium. A couple more drivers will find other ways to end off this first round of the season. No celebratory donuts, just more damage to the unfortunate Subarus.
Oh, those cars have been through enough. I'll just leave it. They're already gone.
Oh, they're still finding ways to inflict more damage onto their machines as well. Let's see what your... Oh, we can't even see what your race leader Matthew Lind is doing because he's found a way to exit the car from the bounds of the track. Yes, you heard me correctly. Run your way then down through the official race results for the first round of RX2. Almost 7 seconds, a margin of victory in Rallycross that you don't often see. Matthew Lind very much making a statement to open up his campaign. Behind him, René Sotens once again being consistent and grabbing a podium for the No Control Esports squad, while the Legion Speed Sports 535 of Tom Grady comes across the line in third. Cody Winicki just in front of Tyler Schell, while Kim-Andre Bjorklund beats out Sebastian Broberg. Thomas Poulsen beats out Sim van Welde, as well as Andrew Howell, while Eric Whitner and then Vergaard, Olsen, Lyer round out the rest of the 12-car main event. We'll give it a few moments. It's the first time on RaceSpotTV for some of these drivers. They'll make their way on over to the broadcast booth to have a chat with us. But while we wait for hopefully your winner, in the meantime, Paul Smith's catching up with third place finisher Tom Grady.
Tom, I mean, my goodness, you had to do things the hard way, didn't you? You got a great launch in the heat, but tell us what happened just initially in that heat race.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised myself with the launch in the heat. You know, I got in front of first place and second place before turn one and was able to jump over and kind of block it off, but then threw it away with the slowdown, you know, and I was trying to manage it the best I could, but then it just wouldn't go away, so I had to serve my slowdown and watch the cars go by and send myself to the LCQ, so it's kind of a bummer. No one else to blame but myself, but something we need to keep in mind a little bit more next race.
But what it does see is, yeah, you worked your way through the LCQ, get yourself into this feature race, a third place podium. You must be happy to get a podium out of today.
Yeah, super pumped. It's a really good start to the season. Last season I was kind of the king of making it to the LCQ and barely squeaking into the main and claim whatever points we can, but I think this one maybe we're a little bit more in contention for the overall and, you know, battling for wins and get as many points as we can each week and see where we end up by the end of the season.
And how are you feeling going into the rest of the season in your Subaru? You know, how do you think you're going to go out there for the rest of it?
Yeah, I think this season I'm able to have a lot more focus on the Rallycross cars. You know, we just got out of our short course seasons and stuff like that and got a little break in between, so now I can dedicate, you know, all the time to being in the WRX and then, you know, pick up those couple tenths throughout the week and be ready for Sunday instead of just cramming everything into a couple hours before the race and learning the whole track right then.
Well, Tom, you had to do it the hard way, but you made it. Congratulations, third place.
Thank you guys, and thank you to all those that support me, teammates over at Factory Sim Sport and Legion Speed Sports, and then my sponsors, Raceline Wheels and Alter Ego Running. Couldn't do it without any of those guys. Thank you.
There we go. That was Tom Grady joining us. Hopefully we can get a word with our winner Arjuna, but certainly great to hear from one of your podium sitters.
Yeah, we'll give Matthew Lind a few moments to hopefully get his microphone turned on and have a chat with us, but always great to talk to Tom. And as he mentioned, just coming off the close of the short course season, iRacing Off-Road Championship just wrapping up. The two-time champ now, Connor Barry, going to be part of the RX1 grid as well. I think for them, a little bit of an adjustment to make because, Paul, a Rallycross car may share at least the surface it races on with an off-road truck. Doesn't share many other things than that.
Yeah, there's quite a few differences with the off-road trucks, that is for sure, and certainly these RX cars, they are a really good piece of machinery, really great stuff to run, and certainly there are similarities, but there's also a lot of differences as well.
And so with these drivers now done for their first round of the season, let's look on forward, because next week, Paul, one of my favorites, in fact, probably my favorite of the iRacing Rallycross tracks that we have, it's a long configuration of the Daytona Rallycross course.
It's such a challenging track as well, is the long course there at Daytona, but there's plenty of opportunity to make some moves, make some overtakes, and these drivers, they should have a really good fun time out there next week.
And as we talk through this schedule as well, Brands Hatch after that, I mean, I know you like that, albeit I'm sure you'd prefer if we had a real version of the Brands Hatch Rallycross course. Charlotte, where, of course, the iRacing Rallycross World Championship ended. Phoenix, and then Atlanta, which I find quite interesting, Paul, because we know just how crazy Atlanta can be.
Oh, it can be so much fun to watch, and so much of a challenge for those drivers as well. And it's that joker again at Atlanta. It can just turn out such a good result for somebody out there, and yeah, tremendous to see it as the finale.
And so that's going to be a lot of fun, but as we mentioned, the action not done and dusted. Yes, RX2 has had their season start with a bang, but the action at Sonoma is not done and just dusted. Don't go anywhere on RaceSpotTV. We'll be right back with RX1 action here from Wine Country. The season started with a bang for RX2, and now the center stage is taken up by RX1. Open setups, no iRating caps, and the strongest of iRacing Rallycross get ready to do battle once again in the pursuit to dethrone Jacob Rafos. Hello everyone, welcome back to RaceSpotTV, where Arjuna Kankipati is alongside Paul Smith and getting ready to go once again. Paul, we've already seen what this combination is all about. We've already talked about the schedule, the journey that RX2 is going to be going on. But now with RX1, we get ready to go with the likes of Jacob Rafos, Connor Barry, and so many more top-level drivers.
Oh, it's great to be... it's reminded me how much I enjoy Rallycross. And yeah, there was a bit of chaos and carnage going on out there, but there was a lot of entertainment as well.
Yeah, and again, close racing, but with the fact that you have to be a little bit more careful with the contact in these machines compared to maybe the trucks, that's always something that is important. If it's the first time that you're watching Rallycross action, well, don't worry, you picked a great time to join in. Qualifying just underway for RX1, and it's the start of the championship points accumulation. 6 points for pole, and of course, the results from qualifying determine the lineups for each of our heats, where, once again, multiple heats, couple of drivers from each advance to the main event. Some drivers go through the LCQ poll and hope they aren't spat out by the ringer.
Yeah, that's it is pretty much a bit of a crap shot with the LCQ, but yeah, definitely drivers will not want to go through that. The big thing for us here in this one, 2 heats are going to be taking place, with 3 progressing from each of those heats. So the top 3 is what we're going to be looking out for first.
Slightly different, and it will also still be 3 drivers from, I believe, 2 LCQs with the numbers that we have, but we'll get you confirmation on that in just a few moments' time. And of course, we can talk to you about the fact that we've seen some racing at Sonoma already, but Paul, some of these drivers, Josh Fox in particular, 4 years of World Championship experience at this track to fall back on.
And experience is such a big thing in some of these cars. Knowing, having that experience so you can just fall back on that and not have to panic and not overthink the situation. Just have that muscle memory and being able to work that. It's so helpful around this venue, which you're seeing up here on screen, just short of a mile. That Joker Delta, we saw how crucial it was in the RX2. See how crucial it is here in RX1.
So they've got qualifying going on once more. Once again, about 5 minutes are thrown on towards the clock. Let's take a look at the names on the left-hand side of the screen where, well, Jacob Rafos fastest them all, at least provisionally. McFarlane, Palaneva, Abedi, and Pakala. Those aren't maybe the expected names that you would have thought. Josh Fox, not yet with the time thrown onto the board. Same could be said for Connor Barry in the number 2 Nitro Circus sim racing machine. Here's the Williams Esports driver, one of the few to have won a race in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, to still be competing in these cars as well. And as the Pennsylvania native runs to the line, it's a 39.646. It's 200ths faster than Jacob Rafos.
Oh, that's perfectly timed, and yep, goes off the track as well to finish that lap. But you know, certainly 3 laps to set your qualifying time, but really you only talk about that first or second lap being your out and out fastest. Josh Edmondson then just gonna go over the jump and see what time he can get in here, cross the line, and it's going to be a 40.129.
Good enough to jump him up to 6, so that's important because that will be slightly better starting spots when it comes to the heat races. Russell Peterson has just slid up into 14th as we watch Robbie Kirtley in the 024 in the no control machine head towards the final couple corners of the lap now. He does have 2 more attempts at a lap, and so that's what he's doing right now. But why is he taking are you allowed to take a joker to start a lap?
I've been seeing people doing that.
Interesting.
It's quicker because you're not going over the jump, you're not accelerating when you're up in the air, whereas there, through the joker on the ground, you're able to get the speed up, but making little mistakes like that won't help.
Interesting, and that's one of those things that drivers with more experience maybe will have more knowledge of. Here's Josh Fox, by the way, another attempt in qualifying. I don't necessarily think those are the valid sectors, and so as no time in fact set, the lap invalidated at some point. No improvement, but he was already on top, to be fair, and 19 thousandths between the top 2, Paul, and then a further 2/10 or so. It's no surprise that Fox and Rafos, the class of the previous season, the class at the start of this season as well.
Yeah, and that experience, as we said, is shining through there, and Fox and Rafos, well, I'm not surprised to see those 2 up there, but Palaneva certainly putting some pressure on them. Not able to quite match them, but you look at the pace compared to the RX2 fixed setup, it's incredible the speed that we're getting here. Oh,
and we got plenty of the webcams as well for this RX1. Top left, I believe that's Robbie, either Larill or Kirtley. 50 chance about who it is. Evan McFarlane, and then Russell Peterson giving us the insight as to what he's seeing on his screen in front of him. Below, Maciek Chaki, Jacob Rafos with the RX sign in the background, and then Connor Parisi, one of 3 drivers in virtual reality, along with the likes of Sean Winkler and Josh Edmondson, who get ready to go. We're ready to go, though, for RX1. Let's take a look at the starting grid, where Pennsylvania's own Josh Fox, fastest of them all. You'll have Yoni Palaneva and then Alexander Abedi alongside, while Connor Parisi in the Nitro Circus sim racing colors alongside Sammy Mata. Keaton Swain just missed out on a iRacing World Championship earlier this year. Will be in 6th with Maciek Sochaki, Russell Peterson, and then Zachary Drapkin in that Drapkin Racing number 14, the red line all colors, making it into the Rallycross machines after being part of the Off-Road All-Star Invitational. We got an All-Star in the grid, and we got an All-Star in the booth as well, Paul. What are we expecting then for the first of 2 heats?
All-Star race winner, heat winner, don't
sure
forget that. But what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of people trying to get to first place down in the bowling alley here and get that inside lane. If you can get that inside lane at the start here, you're in a pretty good spot, that is for sure. But never write off those starting on row number 2 to get involved in this one.
And this is where, as well, we'll see a bit more of experience versus, I don't want to say newcomers, but maybe drivers with less battle-tested experience out there. Josh Fox, Connor Parisi, of course, veterans of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. And while Keaton Swain and Zachary Drapkin, very quick, for example, in those short course races, it's a slightly different kettle of fish, and Josh Fox is making them all wait right now as the Pennsylvania native makes his way down to the grid. All the machines now getting ready to go for the first of 2 heats in RX1 season opener at Sonoma. Away we go for another campaign, and Josh Fox gets a tidy start. Palaneva will challenge and then gets turned with Alexander Abedi. More drama on the start, but 4 cars squeak on through towards the final corner.
Oh, it was asking too much, wasn't it? Abedi's got huge damage to his car. I don't know whether he'll be able to carry on or not, but the rest of them are able to carry on, and Drapkin, again, another one of those involved in that one. He's dropped down, and yeah, Abedi's had to take a tour back to the start area.
And so once again, watch for the left side of your screen for those crowns to be illuminated as drivers take that 2-second or so delta on the Joker. Abedi will be watching on from where he started. You can see his stricken machine just sitting and waiting as once again down through the bowling alley they go. It's Connor Parisi and Keaton Swain that have been able to jump on forward, and as we see some drivers taking towards the Joker, it's Sammy Mata that will be the first to blink and comes out alongside the number 11 of Connor Parisi.
It's crucial that Josh Fox decided to make that move and go down the Joker. There was a big wide line. Palaneva is able to hold on to the position, but yeah, was under big pressure from behind. And look at this, it's always interesting to see the drivers that are running in VR. Connor Parisi, well, certainly he'll be pushing on and trying to get the best result, although does have a slow down penalty.
Oh, and we've seen so many of them today as well. They've been racked up, and the fact that someone like Parisi has gotten involved in that shows that even experience can't keep you out of those sort of troubles. Remember, 3 drivers to advance at the end of each of our heats. It means Palaneva, Mata and Fox all having taken to the Joker, currently in a decent spot, but Keaton Swain, 1.9 seconds, remember the magic number? Well, he's 1.8 seconds off the back of 3rd spot.
Keaton needs to just keep on pushing on and leave it until the last lap. Just keep putting the laps in here, make your turns correctly, don't make any mistakes. You've got an opportunity of sneaking into those automatic transition spots.
When would you go to the Joker, though, if you're, let's say, Connor Parisi? Don't want to count out someone like Connor, even with now 2 laps to go. Do you go this lap and try and bring the gap down and put some pressure on, Paul?
Yeah. Take it sooner, put the pressure on, and you never know, it might work out for you in being able to work that one. But certainly, if you're Swain, you just keep on pushing right to the end. Well, that gap, it is fluctuating a little bit out there for them, but this is a tremendous fight, and this is all for 2nd place.
And it seems like 2 teammates who aren't going to push each other too hard, and as much as Keaton Swain looked like he was within the Joker Delta, it's now grown on this lap, and we'll get a better mark at the line. It's about 2.1 seconds over the jump, and the all-white Subaru of Swain comes to the white flag outside of the time that he needs to make the jump. It might be a photo finish, Paul, but not for Josh Fox.
Yeah, Josh Fox out front, showing that experience, that Williams Esports car, certainly looking good out there in this opening heat race.
And so, after what was another dominant campaign for Jacob Rafos in 2023 Season 1, Fox had his moments, yes, but it's a very optimistic and promising start for the Williams Esports number 12. No teammate alongside. It doesn't matter for Fox. Wins in heat race number 1. And now the question, does Keaton Swain have enough speed? No. Sammy Mata, Yoni Palaneva do enough to advance directly to the main event.
Keaton Swain, though, crucially, though, getting right up behind there to get that spot on the grid in that LCQ.
And so just Zachary Drapkin to come to the line in the red line oil machine. It means that now one heat race done, just one more to go before we'll head off into those LCQs, and we know just how fast and frenetic Rallycross action can be, so let's not dive around and waste some time. Let's go directly into the starting grid for heat race number 2, where it's going to be Jacob Rafoss alongside Evan McFarlane and Josh Edmondson on the front row, Jukka Pakala, Sentry Heiskanen on the second row for the No Control Esports crew, while Robbie Larill in one of the KES Industries machines has Robbie Kirtley, Sean Winkler, and then Connor Barry, two-time iRacing Off-Road Series champ, at the very back of the starting grid. We fly through the grid, and fortunately Josh Edmondson waits to get onto the grid to give us some more time, Paul, to relax after the first heat of RX1.
Well, we saw how good that opening heat was. Maybe not turn 1 was good, but certainly there were some intriguing battles in that one, and teammates helping each other out.
Once again, the drivers focus their attention towards the lights, and as the engines spool up in symphony once more, a long hold, but the field of 9 Subarus flies their way down through the bowling alley. Great start from Jacob Rafoss, not challenged by McFarlane or Edmondson, who slot back into line and single file a conga line of 9 STIs through the opening couple of corners safely.
Better start than we had in the opening heat, and now this race should nicely heat up. Your Joker strategy is going to be key in this one, with everybody so close together out there on track.
Qualifying maybe wasn't as close as this start of the race has been, and already you can see Rafoss and the Nitro Circus sim racing machine start to stretch the legs. Filing back up, merging onto the tarmac. There's Josh Edmondson in that number 58, trying to make it a Nitro Circus Sim Racing 1-2, but with Evan McFarlane and that KES Industries Subaru taking the normal line, Josh Edmondson says, "I'm jokering," the first time of asking.
Yeah, gets himself to the front, and do you know what? That could be key for him there, just to get some clear air, some clean windscreen time as well, and just be able to focus forward here. Another one of your drivers in VR.
And he's giving it a good lean as well, the sim racer lean, if you will, and you can definitely tell that this is all about just controlling the momentum, rolling the car through the corners. And I bet you what, if we jump on to the perspective of Jacob Rafoss, who, by the way, Paul, he's not staring into your soul, don't worry, that's just how he always looks while he drives. It's a very different sort of a look that we see.
The focus that's on Rafoss's face right now, he only relaxes down the straight here, and then look at that, just focused, so keen, and well, it's working for him, although running a little bit wide through that opening turn.
Yeah, two-time defending champ Jacob Rafoss did it in style, of course, and now is Edmondson maybe with a slowdown. Jacob Rafoss retakes the lead.
And that's a mistake that Edmondson could not afford to make, because that slowdown could cost him a transfer spot.
Again, top 3 advance. Who's going to take off to the Joker now that there's a mistake being made? The KES Industries 04. McFarlane peels off and away. Not going to clear himself of Rafoss. In fact, he will. He'll jump his way to the lead now of this heat.
This is great stuff. This is what we were waiting to see, isn't it, Arjuna? Some really close, hard-fought action. And look at him, the young man is working that wheel, is Evan. This is fantastic to see. Currently in first, but laps are counting down. Rafoss still loses that Joker.
And I'm loving the fact that you see he's got an office chair. Not everyone has a super sophisticated rig that's locking them down into place. This is a much more homebrew setup, if you will, and so as Evan McFarlane heads out through the final corner, Jacob Rafoss does indeed peel off for the Joker and emerges in front. One more lap to go. Top 3 looking pretty comfortable to transfer on forward.
I'm very much on team office chair, that is for sure, but certainly these drivers hyper competitive. Let's have a look back at what happened. This is up at the top of the hill, and this is just going to be clattering the wall on the inside. That's what happens when you get your line wrong. That's
what happened to Connor Barry, unfortunately, and so iRacing Off-Road Champ not starting off his RX1 campaign in maybe the way that he would have wanted, but for Jacob Rafoss, maybe he'll finally relax for a second, heading towards the line, winner of heat race number 2, and will be lining up alongside Josh Fox come the main event. We're waiting to see who joins him. McFarlane and Edmondson do enough to advance on forward. It's Pakala, Larill, Heiskanen, and then others who Paul still have some work to do.
A big puff of the cheeks then from Jacob Rafos. He was under some pressure there, that is for sure. But we're going into the first of our LCQs.
And so this is a 6-car grid that will get ready to do battle for what I believe are still 3 spots in the main event. So Keaton Swain, Connor Parisi, and then Russell Peterson, hypothetically in the best spot possible, is Maciek Sochacki, Zachary Drapkin, and Alexander Abady, who therefore have got to crack their way on in towards those front 6 positions. It's not been as physical as RX2 is, that's for sure, and as all the cars are already lined up and ready to go, once again, turning their attention toward the lights. And the first LCQ is underway. Good start there from the outside. Russell Peterson as well as Connor Parisi. Keaton Swain gets shoved in towards the opening corner. Abady's in the wall. Spinning around goes Peterson. Keaton Swain runaway in the lead.
Oh, and if you're Swain right now, you're just focusing forward, because let those behind you fight. Parisi is one of those fighting. Remember, the top 3 are your spots that automatically get yourselves qualified for that feature race, and Parisi just dropping back there. No slow down penalty for him. It was just Maciek getting the good run.
And we take a look on board with Sochacki. You can also see the wonderful maps, the track maps in the background, as I can get my words out from underneath me. Zachary Drapkin slips on past Parisi, who gets a slow down penalty. Yeah,
slow down penalty. Big problems there for Parisi. This is not how he would have wanted this LCQ to go.
We were saying that maybe it was a shame that Sonoma was at the start rather than the end of the season. The drivers are finding out just how difficult Sonoma can truly be. Keaton Swain has taken his Joker, by the way, and in his number 21 machine flicks it back towards the long left that brings you towards the bowling alley.
Maciek's got a slow down penalty. That's going to bring Drapkin into this race for second place. And there you see, having to slurve that slowdown penalty. The slowdown penalties are brutal around this track.
And Drapkin goes Joker, Parisi follows. A red line all number 14. Nitro Circus Sim Racing number 11. Great look from the onboard camera once again. I've got to say, that virtual reality, you don't see it much, Paul, in the Porsche Esports Super Cup, which the two of us commentate on as well. But in these form of races, that level of insight, it seems invaluable.
Yeah, I mean, I've not been fortunate enough to try out VR yet, but something like this would be what I would be using it for. You can see, you can just spot your apexes, you can look at where you're going to be heading, and certainly it gives those drivers just that little bit of extra sighting for those corners.
Take a look at the start once again, and you can just see Keaton Swain did get a bit of a shove by Abady, and then Russell Peterson also getting a further shove. It's one of the most difficult starts of the entire season, Paul.
It certainly is. It can decide championships, usually at the end of a season, but this time at the start of the season, Parisi still holding on. Well, actually going for second place now, so Drapkin behind, and if I'm Zachary, I'm not too worried if I lose that spot, because let's face it, you've got a big gap behind you to keep yourself in those qualification spots.
And especially given that it seems like Russell Peterson's had some issues. It's now Sochacki and Abady fighting behind. You can just about see them at the outside of your shot, but for the time being, as we cycle around to take what should be the final lap of this race, Keaton Swain 3 seconds clear, with everyone, except for Alexander Abady, I think has rectified that now, having taken to the Joker.
If you can keep your head while all those around you lose theirs, you'll be a man, my son. That was the famous poem, and well, it's certainly showing for Keaton Swain. Kept his head whilst everyone else was having dramas out there, and Swain looking good for a win into that main feature race.
That's Keaton Swain in a nutshell, consistent to a T, and currently doing just enough to head out of this LCQ and advance directly to the main event, but to be starting outside of the front half. Great job from Swain with a relatively undamaged car. We're more used to seeing him in a truck. Zachary Drapkin and Connor Parisi split by 0.08 of a second. Zachary Drapkin finishes in front of an iRacing World Championship competitor. That will fill him with confidence. The driver of the 56 Pro Buggy in the real world, 2019 Rookie of the Year, and of course continuing to just get quicker and quicker in the world of sim racing. LCQ number 2 is going to see Jukka Pakala, Robbie Larill and Santeri Heiskanen on the front row, Sean Winkler, Robbie Kirtley and then Connor Barry roll from the second and third rows with some work to do. And Paul, based on what we've seen in that first LCQ, staying out of trouble might just be enough.
Yeah, just keep it clean and you've got a good result coming your way, that is for sure, but that's easier said than done from the commentary box.
Yeah, talk to us about your experience of commentating and driving at the same time as an all-star.
I'd rather not remember that because I find it hard enough to talk, let alone drive and talk.
Sean Winkler gets himself gridded up, and now once again 6 drivers with their eyes focused toward the lights, ready to go for LCQ number 2. It's a good jump there from Jukka Pakala. Robbie Larill going to have to watch out in the middle of the sandwich, and as they funnel their way in towards the final corner, Larill has the lead. Pakala second, Heiskanen third. Sean Winkler almost runs himself into the wall as his Nitro Circus sim racing teammate Connor Barry tries to work on forward. They'll slide their way towards turn number 1 though, with all 6 machines still in a line.
I think Winkler just got a little bit of a nudge. That's what pushed him into the wall there. But Larill and Pakala certainly fighting it out at the front of your field. But Heiskanen, don't write him off. And Connor Barry, well, he's coming up behind them. And the 2 teammates, we saw how teammates work together in the heat. Now they've got to work together here in this LCQ.
They're going to have to box out a pair of teammates in their own regard, Connor Barry and Sean Winkler. Robbie Larill will continue to lead them as Robbie Kirtley's had a bit of an issue down at the back. This is 4, fighting for 2. Larill takes to the Joker the first time and breaks away from them. No control 2 and 3. Nitro Circus 4 and 5. And a big pull on the handbrake for Jukka Pakala.
Yeah, just keeping it tight through that long sweeping right-hander. Can then open up this left-hander nicely. And Jukka Heiskanen behind, just getting caught up in that battle with Connor Barry. Here's Sean Winkler then, and he's working hard, and there's a slow car. Connor Barry with a slow down penalty.
And I think potentially now as well, costing himself any sort of opportunity to make it through to the main event. Connor Barry's won a handful of RX2 races. His first outing in full-time season as RX1 driver, not necessarily going the way that he would have expected. Robbie Larill, now that Santeri Heiskanen is taken to the Joker as well, is only 1 second clear, so keep an eye on the KES Industries 213 because that no control 57 continues its charge. Well, Jukka Pakala's in striking distance as well to join what would be 3 cars then at the front, breaking away. 2 laps to go this time by.
Pakala, he's going to be looking to take a Joker lap towards the end of the race here. He's wanting to just keep that in his pocket so that he can react to Winkler here if he needs to. Pakala, we're on board. This is what the view that the driver has. Just a little dab of oppo, a little bit of a handbrake, and keeping it tight through this corner. That's what you need to do. Don't run the car too far out wide through that corner, and then again, keep it tight because you want to open up this right-hander as much as possible.
The thing that always impresses me is the gears that these drivers use, 5th and 6th for most of their time on the dirt. It's all just about minimizing wheel spin and maximizing grip. Does Pakala peel off to the Joker? No. Paul's right, saves it for the final lap, and coming to that final lap now, Connor Barry, Sean Winkler, they're fighting and effectively for pride and bragging rights on this final laps of the race. There's Winkler, in fact, to the Joker.
If I'm Pakala, I'm not fighting this one. I'm just sitting right on his rear bumper and just taking that Joker on the last lap.
It shouldn't be too much drama, and that's why Pakala releases himself from some of that pressure. Doesn't want to slow him down too much though. Might leave Winkler with a chance to run away towards the line in what will be a drag race. It is faster though to use the tarmac to avoid having to take the jump. I don't know if that's necessarily the fastest way for Robbie Larill, but I tell you what, he wanted to sign off from LCQ2 in style. It's Larill from Heiskanen, 4/10 between the two. It's Jukka Pakala that does indeed take towards the Joker and advances with the 3 of them. Both LCQs done and dusted. Paul, we say goodbye to Sean Winkler, to Connor Barry, and to Robbie Kirtley.
Well, if you want to win in style, then do it that way. That was certainly great to see. Great car control into that last turn. It could have all gone wrong, let's not forget. So sometimes it's better to play safe. But yeah, great racing from the heats and the LCQs. It all comes down to this final 2 minutes of practice before the feature race.
And here's our Racecraft race analysis. Same 5-lap heats, 5 laps LCQs, and 10-lap features. Only difference between the RX1 and RX2 series is a lack of iRating cap, 3,500, the maximum iRating allowed in RX2, but also open setups versus fixed setups, and maybe more importantly, Paul, in a form of motorsports that some call a contact sport, a 6x incident limit rather than 8.
Yeah, it means that you're not allowing the drivers to go overboard with the contact. You're allowing them some leeway, but you don't want too much contact. Yes, rubbing is fine, being door handle to door handle. That's all well and good in Rallycross, and just easing people out of the way. But flat out punting, nah, that's not allowed. So that's why we've got that lower incident point limit. The good news about RX2, I would qualify for RX2,
I would too. Now, can you imagine how scared the drivers would be if they saw us in the sessions, though?
I think some would be thinking who's running the broadcast if we were there.
I mean, this is the thing. At some point, we'll have a commentators race later this year. A couple of the Racecraft TV members will be joining us for that. Bragging Rights 3, anyone but those Aussies, please. Inside joke for anyone that knows that SimSpeed have been able to grab both of the victories so far in Bragging Rights. Yeah, it will be interesting how things look forward from here.
And it's crucial to see that for the feature, the track state is being refreshed, so we're going to have a nice clean track out there for the feature.
And so the drivers, with their final moments of practice done and dusted, you can see Russell Peterson in that top right watching on and getting a great perspective of what all the drivers are going to be seeing and dealing with what is, like Paul mentions, a new track state for them all. Of course, those that competed in the heats have been watching on for 2 LCQs. Those in the 2 LCQs have a little bit more rhythm with which to dive into this main event. They're all ready to go. Are you ready? Because I hope you are here live on RaceSpotTV for the RX1 season opener main event. Here's how they'll line up, where, of course, it is going to be Josh Fox and Jacob Fox to lead us to the green. The Williams Esports pair, Williams Esports driver and Nitro Circus Sim Racing pair have been so strong in previous campaigns and once again have been the best so far. It's Sammy Matta, Evan McFarlane, Yoni Palaneva and Josh Edmondson through the rest of your top 6 drivers that advance directly from a heat race, while Keaton Swain, Robbie Larill, Zachary Drapkin, Santeri Heiskanen, Connor Parisi, and Yuka Pakala. The 6 drivers that advance from the chaos of an LCQ. And Paul will start towards the very back of the main event.
I'm thinking Josh Fox is a good shout for the win here after that strong first heat race.
I think Josh Fox, Jacob Foss, those are the obvious picks. It's the start which will tell all if we can get through safely. All drivers now focus their attention towards the lights. The off-season finally comes to a close. The drivers on the engines, holding the handbrakes, with the cars poised to launch themselves into the bowling alley. Great jump from Fox. Look at Jacob Fox trying to cover off Sammy Matta. The Williams Esports machine is going to get through to the lead, and the challenge doesn't come from Matta. It's Evan McFarlane that looks to the inside of Foss. Over the jump and towards the line. All 12 of them getting off safely, and now climbing once again into turn number 1.
I was worried for a while because we were 4 wide, a bit deeper in the order, going down the bowling alley, but safe and sound through there. That's why these drivers are here in this feature race. But my goodness, really close action, a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of barging going on further back in your field. It's all about those championship points here, isn't it?
These are where the majority of the championship points are paid out. Some drivers just hoping to have a rather clean opening lap. I don't see too many peeling off to take to the Joker, with the exception of Evan McFarlane as well as Yuka Pakala. Everyone else with 10 laps with which to use your Joker, deciding lap 1, not the call.
Yeah, it's being tactical about when you take that. If you're someone like Josh Fox, Jacob Raffarsi, you're going to be looking to use them a little bit later on in this race, being a bit more tactical. Although if you're Fox, you might look at Evan McFarlane in front and think, I'm a bit quicker than him, but I don't want to risk getting involved in an incident. I might take that down. And he does.
And Jacob Rafos almost ran directly into the back of him, and I think this is a good call for Josh Fox. The question will be, does Rafos now cover the next lap by, especially given that Sammy Mata and Josh Edmondson off the Joker into turn one side by side. Edmondson turns Mata on the nose of his car, and the two STIs bully each other through turn number one.
And almost taken the car in front as well, Josh Edmondson. This is really close, rubbing action. As I said, punting your way out the way, we don't like that, but rubbing, yeah, we love it. A bit of bodywork contact, never harmed anyone, but yeah, onto the brakes again, and again, Rafos, that focus, taking the Joker this time, deciding now's the time to take it.
He's going to cycle in front of McFarlane, that we knew, but as expected as well, not in front of Josh Fox, and so now it's Fox versus Rafos with 7 laps to settle this. Fox a little bit wide up through turn number one. Rafos not close enough to take advantage. They've pulled away 1.7 already from McFarlane. Top 6 of Joe could pull. Fox and Rafos get ready to put on a show for the two of us.
I thought Fox made a mistake by going that far wide through the sweeping turn of turn 3, but manages to hold on to it. Of course, you've got the less worn down dirt out there on the outside line, but it's just so much quicker to be on that inside line through 3. And look at this, on board with the Rafos. He's looking, he's putting the pressure on, and again, looking to hold that inside tight line. They're sliding, they're rubbing each other.
They're trying, and Rafos with the elbows out bullies Fox out of the way. The defending champion back on top, but Paul, Rallycross is not always a contact sport. What did you think about that?
Got to the inside. I mean, Fox will feel aggrieved by that is for sure, but it was a bit shoulders out there. It was on borderline, was that one, but Fox really should have expected it from that mistake. As they carry on, and Rafos, just nice and calm, has a little of it in an itch, sorts that out, and then gets back to focus.
And it's back to that death stare as soon as he's into a corner as well. You are 100% right about it. And I'm really enjoying the contrast, right? Jacob Rafos, he's in a dedicated sim rig, partnered with Next Level Racing, Sim Magic. Who else at this point can I list? Evan McFarlane, a lot more of a home, sort of a DIY sort of a rig, but just as fast, just as capable, and showing us that he's standing up to be counted at the start of RX1's latest campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. It shows that you don't have to have all the latest and greatest equipment. Oh wait, sorry, the sponsors won't like me saying that. I mean, buy rigs from Next Level Racing. They're great, but you know, it shows that you can compete on a lower budget. I say that when he's got the Fanatec CSL DD wheel, so it's not all budget, but certainly spending it where he feels he needs to spend the money.
And spending it where you find the most speed as well is so important, because depending on what discipline you're in, pedals, wheel, it might be more important. Let's not forget that for so long in eNASCAR, they used to run without any force feedback at all. I still don't know why. I still don't know what reason there was to that, but yeah, we did see plenty of trophies in the background of Evan McFarlane's shot as well. Just looking at his record, 2022 USAC National Fontana 3rd place, to add to plenty of other championships that he's won. Plenty of experience there. Always great to see and learn about new faces. McFarlane was competing in RX2 last season, has made the step up to RX1. Josh Fox, by the way, never thought I'd say this, dropping off the back of Jacob Rafos.
Yeah, Jacob's just on another level right now, isn't he? Just that focus death stare just really working out for him, and Fox just doesn't seem to have any answer to that pace of Rafos. I mean, Rafos last lap was a 39.9 compared to a 40.2. It doesn't sound like much, but on such a short lap time, that's a huge difference.
And that's the thing, right? At this level of racing, with just 10 laps, as that was a committed entry into the corner, if you lose a tenth of a second a lap, that's a lot of time, and you don't really have the opportunities to make it up.
He's actually been half a second quicker than Josh Fox on that last lap. Incredible pace from Jacob Rafos.
He went fastest of them all last time by as well. 39.5x6 is his fastest lap of the race. That's crazy.
Where do you get this pace from? Well, it's certainly working out for him. Others not so much are having little bits of run-ins further down the order, but final lap, Jacob Rafos. He's just got to keep it on the track to see the checkered flag first.
There are some drivers still yet to joker, but Santeri Heiskanen are not really in a place to battle, as that's a optimistic line from Robbie Larill. 2 tires on the grass on the turn into turn 1, not going to be able to swoop on past Joni Palineva. I tell you what, plenty of drivers showing just how strong they have entered this RX1 season, but not strong enough to displace this driver from the top. Jacob Rafos won by the smallest of margins to close out our previous Racecraft RX1 campaign. This time he doesn't make it close. It's Rafos on top once more. Wine Country is his to conquer, and it's another season started off in a perfect manner, Paul.
Absolutely sensational stuff. He'll be delighted by that. Joni Palineva got a black flag on the last lap, so we'll have a penalty from that one. But yeah, Jacob Rafos, what a display from that young man.
And so we'll grab a quick look at the race results, and then we'll hopefully grab a word with all 3 of our podium sitters to get their thoughts after a rather interesting opening round of the season. Slowdown galore for some, but you couldn't slow down Jacob Rafos from making his way to the front. Josh Fox may have grabbed pole position, the win in heat number 1. Rafos able to work on forward with an aggressive pass. We'll see what they think about each of them from each perspective about the move in hopefully a few moments' time. Evan McFarlane makes a step up from RX2 to RX1, and impressive to be in third and in front of Josh Edmondson by some margin, while Sammy Matter for the No Control team, the best of their runners in RX1. Connor Parisi, Jukka Pakala, Robbie Larill, and then Santeri Heiskanen and Zachary Drapkin make up the rest of your top 10 as we scroll on down through to the final 2 drivers. Joni Palineva, final classified driver on the leading lap for Keaton Swain, unfortunately in the factory Simsport number 21. Pulled it to the side with damage with 4 laps still left to go. Did not get to see the checkered flag. It felt good to get the band back together, Paul, to get Rallycross back on RaceSpotTV. And we've still got 5 more rounds left after this. That's the wild thing to consider.
Oh, this is just going to be going from this to even better throughout the season. It's going to be one heck of a season to enjoy, and well, I'm glad you're all going to be looking at this one and watching this one on from afar. It's going to be a fantastic opening to the season. Let's
see if we can then make our way down in towards victory lane, where we left him at the close of the previous season. Jacob Rafos, a winner once again in Racecraft Rallycross. We'll see if he gets the message to unmute himself and join us in the commentary booth. Jacob?
He's not there at the moment, so it's live broadcasting, it's what we've got to see. But what we have got is our podium, one of our podium sitters, Evan McFarlane. Congratulations. What a way to start your time in RX1.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's an honor to be racing here with all these guys. I tried my best today. I made a wrong anti-roll bar adjustment, so that kind of damaged me when the rubber came. But yeah, I'm pretty proud. I mean, I thought I did well. Only had like a couple months to practice and get this fast, so I mean, I'm hoping to see results in the future.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you get a second place in your heat race, get yourself straight into the feature, a podium finish starting from the second row of the grid. I mean, just how tough was it out there in that feature?
Yeah, I mean, everyone was super fast. The whole field was super close. So, I mean, like, I knew I just had to try to be consistent and do my best, not get any slowdowns. Because, I mean, get a slowdown, these guys, they're like pixel perfect with their lines, so that could cost you the race. So I knew just to be smooth, practice as much as I can, and just try to run my own race and be as consistent as I can.
And how are you looking next time out? Because it's a tough old season, this one. It's not the longest of seasons, but you have got some serious competition.
Yeah, this next round, I think Daytona. Yeah, Daytona, I'm pretty confident. Me and my teammate Robbie, we had a couple of races here, and it's a very strong race for us, so I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I would like to thank KS Industries, Robbie Larill, he's a great mentor and coach, Matthew Lindy, congratulations on winning, I'm proud of them, and Fluid Logic, VSC, Pit Viper, True Speed, Marvin Sports, and Merlin.
Well, Evan, it's a pleasure to have you here. Congratulations on getting 3rd place in that one.
Thank you.
Always great. Sorry,
yeah,
go
I was
ahead,
going
Paul.
to say, we'll go from 3rd place, but yeah, always great to see somebody to come through from RX2 into RX1 and get a great start.
Yeah, and since Jacob Rafos kept us waiting, I was going to say, let's go catch up with Josh Fox as well to start off a new campaign. Josh, it started well in qualifying. Talk us through what happened in the race itself and the move that Jacob Rafos put on yourself.
Yeah, I just missed the line a bit there in the first corner, and he had just a bit of an opening, even half a car. You got to take it in Rallycross, and I would have done the same thing. And yeah, classic Rallycross there, so no big deal. Glad to take a pole and a heat race win and a podium here from round 1, and just super good to be back in the Rallycross game for sure.
I was going to ask, what's it like jumping back from the truck, which you of course spent the summer in the iRacing Off-Road Championship Series, back into a very familiar friend in this Williams Esports Subaru STI?
Yeah, it is a friend, and just like riding a bike, you know, not much has changed in these Rallycross cars in general past couple years, and gosh, yeah, just love it so much. The different fast-paced style of racing and more control I think the drivers have in terms of the line you choose and the way you use the track to your advantage in some points. And yeah, the best thing for me, my favorite thing. So yeah, just really appreciate an opportunity to come out here and put on a show.
Glad to have you back in the Subaru, Josh, and we'll see you next week at Daytona.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Williams Esports driver Josh Fox, second on the day here in the main event, but ultimately the winner, Jacob Rafos, standing by with Paul Smith.
Yeah, Jacob, I mean, what a drive that was from you, getting the win in your heat race, and then, I mean, talk us through that move that you pulled there on Josh through that opening turn.
Yeah, I know it was, I don't know how it was on the stream, but it felt a little bit rough in the cockpit. I don't know, it felt like some weird contact or some little bit of a weird bounce, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, that's it. I mean, you've got to take your you've got to take your opportunities when they come along. You see that little bit of a half gap, you've got to make that move. But once you got that move done, the pace that you showed was absolutely relentless out there. You seem to be in the zone.
Yeah, I hit a really good lap there, 39.5, running out a few laps later. So yeah, I was really on pace for this feature for sure. I had something good going.
And of course, coming into this season, you're looking to keep going at the front of the championship. That's pretty much a perfect start to your season, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe, yeah. I mean, qualifying could be improved, but I'll take that. Like, Josh is always pretty freaking fast in qualifying, so yeah, I'll take P2 in qualifying. But yeah, or except for that, it's probably perfect.
Well, Jacob, congratulations on your race victory, not just in the heat, but also in the feature.
Thank you, and I'd like to give a shout out to Sim Magic, Sim Racing Eyes, Next Level Racing, Nitro Circus Sim Racing Team, and yeah, you guys, Racecraft, and you guys for commentating and everybody involved in this.
The first person to actually thank us, Arjuna. There we go, Jacob Rafos, your race winner.
Always good as well to get to chat with all three of the podium sitters, because three very different stories, of course. Evan McFarlane, the new rookie to the campaign, effectively Josh Fox looking to finally break the streak of Jacob Rafos, and, well, Rafos, unpenetrable in terms of pressure, it would seem, being able to come out on top, because, Paul, next time, Daytona. It is my favorite, personally, of the iRacing Rallycross layouts that we have, and it's one as well that does promote plenty of side-by-side action.
Side-by-side action, plenty of opportunities to make overtakes as well. It's a classic of the iRacing RX scene, and certainly these drivers will love being out there, out on track.
And it's a short season, that's the most important thing. 3 back-to-back weeks to open things up. Of course, Brands Hatch the trip across the pond to complete the first triple header, and then November 19th, November 26th, and December 17th. A bit of separation before we finish things up at Atlanta. Maybe most beneficially, Paul, I look at this, and the one thing I look at and I'm happy about compared to previous RX seasons in Racecraft land, no Lucas Oil once again.
Nobody seems to want Lucas Oil. But certainly some great varied tracks out there for these drivers. But it's an intense first half of the season, as I say, back to back to back. It can make and break somebody's season.
And so that's the first round in 2023 Season 2 of Racecraft RX, powered by Next Level Racing, officially in the books. Thank you so much for joining us for the return of Rallycross to RaceSpotTV, and it was so glad to bring back the band from the iRacing Rallycross World Championship together. Paul Smith alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati, for all of the action. First 3 weeks are hectic. Daytona up next, Brands Hatch 2 weeks from today to close out the month of October. Don't forget to join us, same time, same place, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific on October the 22nd at the World Center of Racing. For now, though, for Matthew Linda's win in RX2, for Jacob Rafoss' win in RX1, it's two very happy drivers leaving wine country to open up their Racecraft RX 2023 Season 2 campaigns.